guys, Alexis here from Dynasty Preppers. We're going to do a short video series here on dehydrating fruit. It's something that we do a lot of, especially in June, July, August. Around here we get a lot of fruit, apricots, peaches, pears, and we really enjoy eating dehydrated fruit in the winter. We also only keep on hand in our preps for what we eat normally. So everything that we normally stock up on is stuff that we normally eat, and we find that to be a really good way to rotate out your food. So I'm going to let you guys in on how I do some simple dehydrating. This here is a Cabela's commercial dehydrator. It's an 80 liter and it has been a lifesaver for me. I've had it for about 3 years now, and as you can see, it holds a lot. I only use about half the drawers when doing fruit, because if you stack it in there too densely, it takes a long time to dry. It doesn't evenly dry either, so I only use about every other drawer in there. When you're looking for a dehydrator, you want to make sure you have a time setting so that you can set it on a timer. That way it shuts off automatically. You'll kind of learn how long it takes to dry your fruit, and a temperature setting. And that will allow you to do different fruits and meat if you wanted to make some jerky. Or I also dry a lot of herbs. So this is the dehydrator I use, and we're going to get into dehydrating some apricots later on tonight. Stay tuned. Alright, I'm going to go over the settings and how to turn on your machine. Right here is your on and off button and your light on and off button. Go ahead and turn the machine on. I don't use the light, but if you do need to see inside, it's got a little light in there. Over here you have your time and temperature settings. If you click on the temperature, you can change it up or down over here. And on fruit, we usually use between 125 and 135. So I just go right in the middle at 130. And then it'll come back, and this is the temperature it is right now. But it's set for what you're going to run it. Then you go to your time, and you can set it between 1 hour, you can even choose minutes if you want, and hours, and up to 23 hours, and that's what I set it at, because this is a 24-hour run, usually 24 hours. And then the machine will turn on and you're set to go. Alright, so here we have our apricots in the sink. I just wash them with some water and a little bit of vinegar to get them clean, and I'm just going to show you how I cut them up. With the bigger ones, I cut them usually in quarters. If you have small little apricots, you can just cut them in half and lay them out on your rack. This is a good way to get the kids involved too. You can have them wash them for you. We have one that washes and one that will lay them out after we cut them. So that always helps get the kids involved. If you find a bad spot on an apricot, you just cut it out. It's not going to hurt anything. Also, sometimes people will soak them in some lemon juice and water, like a half to half ratio. They say that it's supposed to keep them from turning brown while you're drying them. I haven't found it to be different either way, so we just skip that step. They seem to keep just as good, have the same flavor, and turn the same darkness when they're done. So we don't do that for apricots. We do that for peaches, but not apricots.
Personally, we really like the sour, tangy taste of the apricots, and we just recently learned, I guess, that if you dry them when they're green and not ripe, you'll get that more sour, tangy texture.
Not totally green,
taste.
But not like super ripe. You would get a more sour.
More sour.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're pretty sweet. These are probably on the more ripe side, but we do like those sour ones. So if you want that flavor, go ahead and just when they're firm, cut them up and dry them. You
can see the cutting process goes pretty quickly. We have with the larger fruits like this, we can get, I think it's 8 racks in the dryer.
6.
6 racks in the dryer, and there's a total of like, I think there's 12 racks total.
There is 12, yes.
So yeah, we can fit with the larger fruits. We can fit about half. So you have to go about every other row.
If you were to cut them down smaller, you probably could get more in there, but we kind of like the bigger pieces.
And they seem to dry a little bit better as well, with
they don't
more
get so
evenly spaced. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to leave space in between them too, so that the air comes up in between them. You don't want them really stacked on there, otherwise it'll mess with your drying time, and some will get more dry than others. And we'll show you in a little bit when I get done with this rack. We have it full, the dryer full, and that was 1 box of apricots, which I think is about 20 pounds.
I think they're 20-pound boxes.
20-pound boxes. So you can get quite a bit in there. And we're going to dry them at 130 degrees. The suggested is in between 125 and 135, so just depending on what settings your dryer has. Anywhere in between that range. And then I set my timer for 24 hours. It really depends. They could be done in about 22. I'll check them in the middle of the afternoon tomorrow and see how they're doing. Usually though, by 24 hours they are done. So we run about 1 box per day. So I'll switch them out tomorrow and package them up and then start over again. Oh, I also put the skin sides down. That helps. You can get it off the rack a lot easier. They don't stick to the rack, so you're not having to peel them off the rack, because sometimes that's really hard, and then you have to wash them all between all the time too. Whereas when I'm going to run a whole bunch of apricots, I'm not going to wash the racks in between unless they get really sticky. Now with peaches, sometimes we have to because they're more juicy, but these ones are fairly simple.
You know, on the larger apricots like this, you can probably be more into the 24-hour drying time.
Probably.
Just because of the moisture content in them, but. And it also depends on how small you cut your pieces as well. The smaller pieces are going to dry faster.
Right.
So.
But on our apricots, we kind of like them chewy, so we don't get them super hard. There's a bad spot, so I'll just cut that out. Alrighty, so I got that filled up, and then if you'll follow me out, I'll take it out and put it in the dryer. So as you can see here, we got it full. You want to keep that space. You can double stack them in there, but it just doesn't seem to work out as well. And they're going and ready to go. Right, here we go. We have our dryer clear full. Now we'll just wait. It says it's got 21 hours to go there. And I'll come back tomorrow and I'll check them probably mid-afternoon and see how they're doing. But they should be completely done by that 24-hour mark. And we will bag them up and I'll show you guys how I do that tomorrow. All right, here we are after about a 24-hour run time, and they're all dry. The apricots are ready to be packaged. Just go ahead and pull out your trays. I just set them down here on the table, so if anything falls through, it just catches it. And we're gonna use these quart-size Seal Meal Food Saver bags, and we just fill them up. And if you run into any that aren't dry, depending on if you have just a few, like this one isn't quite dry, I'll just put them in a bowl for the kids to eat. If you run into a lot that aren't dry, just make a rack and then just put it in for a couple more hours, and usually that'll finish drying them up. Okay guys, we got our apricots all bagged up here. I got 3 quart bags full off of that dryer load. I'm going to show you our food saver and how that works, and get these all ready to go in the freezer or into dry storage. So on this food saver, you just hit the power button, and it's really simple. You put this textured side down, slide it in, and it's going to suck the air out for you. And then it goes ahead and seals the bag after it's sucked all the air out. This is our first year using a food saver. We used to just put them in Ziploc bags, but we're going to try this year and see if they'll keep a little bit longer. We do store our dried food in a freezer for a little bit of extra extended life, but this way I think you could store it dry, and also it'll help keep it from getting freezer burn. Usually that happens about after a year of this dried food being in the freezer. So there you have it. I'll go ahead and label it with what it is and a year, and I'll throw it in the freezer and it'll be ready. We use these a lot for traveling, hiking. I send them in the kids' school snacks. Just great uses for dried fruit and get us through the winter without having to buy so much imported stuff. That's it for the dried food. Stay tuned. We'll do some peaches and pears and apples later on in the season when they come in to being ripe, and we'll do videos on those. Go ahead, if you like the video I did, go ahead and like us and subscribe to us on YouTube. We have lots of videos coming up. We want to share with you guys what we do to keep our family prepared. Ask yourself, what have you done to secure your dynasty today?
Take 2,568.